Hey, the internet, y'all got us all the way up. We met that dude, Duke the Jeweler, the night before. We was gambling. The next day, dude followed us to the concert. When we left out the concert, we under the garage. Dude went to his car by himself and walked down to the parking lot. That's when somebody tried to kill him.
He's the one that's tied to the dude that makes the loaded dice. Right? Check the play out. All entertainers, when you go to Houston, stay away from Jay Prince Jr. The whole play going on. Here go the play right here. The play is a loaded dice.
Is that a jeweler named Duke recently got killed, and the story's really messed up. So I want you to talk about what happened.
Bloody dye rolled over the velvet table. Everyone smiled even though just one man was going to live. The jeweler Duke did not die penniless. Wolves surrounded him as he passed away. Mob TI's hands are now blood-stained. The feds are also aware of the situation. Nobody took anything from Duke. He was executed, not in an alley, by strangers wearing masks. He died after leaving Boosie's dice game, surrounded by individuals who could have been sending him messages 1 minute and taunting him the next. These same people are now exposed to federal heat. 50 Cent has now confirmed the reports uploaded, the receipts, and mentioned a larger than expected setup. Here's what makes the issue so dramatic. Just 2 weeks before Takeoff's murder, Duke closed down a Prince JRB dice game under very identical circumstances. And everything goes wrong when the wrong man wins. They can now see the complete mobs. Blind Zone, Boosie, Lil Cam, and John Prince JRB. Furthermore, what began as hearsay has turned into warrants. However, how did we arrive here? Let's take a step back from what seemed to be a friendly dice game, as it may have been a loaded execution from the start. Duke the jeweler saw the dream from the outside. A self-made Chicago native who started his own brand from scratch. He wasn't only sending SoundCloud rappers iced out chains. This individual was creating goods for well-known celebrities and legitimate clientele while also establishing a great reputation in the industry. He didn't arrive. Houston is a recreational destination. He approached with a bag. Sources say Boosie personally invited him to discuss an odd item. Duke then arrived. His best ideas packed in the $1 million Louis duffel bag. He had no idea that the meeting would also serve as his farewell. Let's get back to the dice game. Yes, the audio leaked at WAC 100 indicates that it was directly from a street-connected source. This is not just a casual game of chance. The entire procedure was a surgery. JRB is accused of running a loaded dice ring. The 3 men at the table are always the same. Wolf, Big Capri, and Lil Cam. The 3 individuals who throw the dice as if it were a religious ritual. Unless someone screwed up the rotation, the house always wins.
Well, that night, someone fumbled.
Someone made a mistake that evening. Wack feels they were loaded since Duke was able to get past the dice that were not intended for him. He started to attack repeatedly, rapidly increased from hundreds to thousands to tens of thousands. What happens if a rigged system fails? Offenders are fearful. Let's chat about math. According to sources, Prince JRB receives 30% of each dice night title. Duke didn't start emptying stacks by chance. This posed a financial risk. Furthermore, Duke exuded confidence, loudness, and flex that night. He was hurling stacks like confetti, filming them all over Instagram, and soaking in diamonds. Here's where things start to go wrong. Please take a time to. The dice game video shows Boosie gently whistling. His nephew quickly turns to confront Duke, but his demeanor is not threatening. Another man in a red hoodie touches the nephew on the arm to signal him. The mood in the room shifts abruptly. Duke was making jokes and throwing dice at one point. Within a few minutes, this level of worry cannot be faked. It is not paranoia, but rather body language. Because you can feel it when you come into a room full of individuals who have already decided how they want the night to end. Consider this. If you need additional evidence that this was no ordinary game, why would Boosie, a millionaire, invite someone with over $1 million in jewels to a dice game with someone he doesn't fully trust without providing security? Why didn't Prince JRB go for it? Are there any measures in place for a known out-of-towner carrying so much heat? Let us return to the exact moment when Duke walked away from the dice game. After spending the entire night surrounded by millions of dollars in cash and ice, he found himself alone in a dark Houston parking lot with no driver, crew, or security. If something appears weird, you're right. This is when things turn from suspicious to unpleasant. Shots rang out within minutes. Duke is fatally shot in an ambush. Jewelry and money are typically the first items stolen in a failed heist or setup. However, Duke was discovered to still be wearing everything. What form of heist results in seven-figure sums? He wore the same $1 million jewelry to Boosie's function just before dying. Duke's Louis Vuitton suitcase was the ultimate game changer. The person with his most expensive unpublished jewelry creations did not simply disappear. It appeared in Boosie's home. Allow some time to marinate. Houston police have confirmed this. We don't know whether Boosie snatched the bag after the fact, or if Duke gave it to him as protection during the dice game. However, it is obvious that the suitcase returned to Boosie. Duke did not. In response, Boo recorded a shaky Instagram live from an airplane, stating that Duke simply walked away and that he didn't recognize him.
He was walking to his car, some dude tried to rob him. Some dudes tried to rob him. See, some dudes had tried to rob me and walked off by himself. I had just met dude yesterday. Trying to ride, dude must ain't get up.
Folks from flight Zach, over number 2 for departure. Flight attendants, please bear the cabin.
Just met dude.
Duke's Louis Vuitton suitcase created a genuine microphone drop moment. He did not simply disappear with his most prized unpublished jewelry designs. It appeared in Boosie's home. Allow time for marinating. The Houston Police Department verified this. It is unclear whether Boosie snatched a bag after the occurrence, or if Duke gave it to him for safekeeping during the dice game. One thing is certain, Boosie got the bag. Duke had not. In a shaky Instagram video from an airplane, Boo responded by saying he didn't know Duke and simply flew away.
We was in a garage. He must have walked outside to the parking lot. We was in the garage. We heard this, but it's like they was far away in the parking lot. He must have went to his car or something. Dude was finna make a piece of it.
To be honest, he did not look to be a naive individual. He appeared worried and pallid. It gets worse if you thought. That was horrible. The federal authorities, who had been keeping an eye on Boosie for other legal issues, decided to divide Duke's case into its own federal inquiry. This entails a laser-like focus on Duke's fate, with no delays or rebuttals to previous accusations. They watched the phone since it is what they did best. Duke made one last call to Boo's recording studio. As a result, someone from Boo's group must have taken Duke's phone there, unless it stood up and entered on its own. They weren't even attempting to be cunning. It had not been erased. They left it untouched. Following that ping, the phone went black, indicating that it was most likely turned off manually. That enraged the federal government. They then looked through Duke's rental automobile. Forensic detectives located prints among Boosie's cousins and nephews. And just when you think things can't get any crazier, they do. According to a witness who came forward while smoking outside the building, Duke was seen strolling alone to his car. Everything was okay until Boo's nephew appeared out of nowhere. He seemed to be patient. Duke seems to have swung first, attempting self-defense before fighting back once he realized something was wrong, but he was unsuccessful. Boosie's nephew allegedly pulled the trigger in a single move, without even attempting to commit a theft. Why? It has absolutely nothing to do with thievery. It's about silence. They kept the bag instead of letting it disappear. It's not careless. This demonstrates arrogance. Do you know whether anyone else has noticed this? 50 Cent. Have you ever? Notice how artists are greeted with care when they arrive in Houston. Be sure to check in. It is not formally recognized. It's not documented. It's true, however. Influencers, sportsmen, and artists have all heard that if you walk through Houston without first checking in with Prince JRB and the mob tie circle, you're asking for disaster. However, this is the issue that no one wants to address. What if the folks you check in with set you up? Let's be clear. Prince JRB hosted a dice game, and Duke attended. Takeoff was killed by the same host who had previously hosted the dice game. Following Duke's death, the check-in culture evolved from protective to suspicious, because two men would not have survived if Prince JRB ruled the city as he claims. Not even WAC 100 could stay silent.
Entertainer invites him in. Act like he's covering for him, hanging out, everything is cool. Let's go here, let's go there, let's go here, let's go there. He introduces the dice game. He got three right, who rotate the dice. Now these dice is loaded. Tell me it's a Wolf, Big Caprice, and watch this, and Little Cam are the loaded dice rotators, right? He said what? There was a situation that occurred that a certain jeweler around and got past the dice on accident and was hitting on them for a couple hundred. They got irritated about that. I ain't gonna go too far into that story because, right, boom. The only way they could get their money back was however money back. He said, but Lil Cam, Wolf, and Big Caprice are the three designated to say I'm up, I got the next, and they pass the dice to each other, but they loaded, but they shooting.
Prince JRB states that he invites celebrities, plays the friend card, gets them to feel at ease, and then leads them into a dice game with his crew surrounding them, calling it a fraud.
The jeweler. I gotta do my research, see what jeweler might have been down there shooting dice. But nevertheless, to all the entertainers, you know, Dukes of Hazzard was one of my favorite shows, right? I don't know if y'all watched it. I was thinking about Daisy Dukes for a reason. I don't know why I said that. You know, one might go with it, may not go with it, but I don't know. If the math is math, and let it math. But entertainers, beware. Oh, with Prince Jr., when he talked about let's go shoot some dice. Because the loaded dice crew of three, Lil Cam, Wolf, and Big Caprice. We know Lil Cam in there because I believe somehow, some way, he's caught up in the dice situation. Rest in peace, Takeoff. I don't know what's going on. But what I do know this, Prince Jr. got a whole thing that when y'all come into town, hold on, bro. Didn't they say Fifth Ward earlier that day shooting dice?
Yep, that's a fact. That word been out, Wet. That word been out. We been had that memo.
And then, so I've been getting hit all day, and it got to the point that the thing, Quavo like, that it's a dice. That's what this nigga Jay Prince Jr., boy, these niggas got all kind of shit going on down there. He said the jeweler nigga got past the dice. He didn't even know the motherfuckers was loaded. He just think he hit. These niggas is mad as a motherfucker. Cause they like, nigga, how you pass this nigga the loaded dice on us?
According to speculations, some singers are discreetly splitting up. It's becoming radioactive, and labels are leaving Houston events. Even 50 Cent has begun to discreetly voice his feelings. He has been trashing the game by posting videos and leaving negative comments. Some believe he is toying with fire. Some people believe he is the only one who is brave enough to express what everyone else is thinking. According to insiders, Boosie is concerned that the federal government would put pressure on him to separate this case from his previous gun-related crimes and focus on the night Duke died. They have begun investigating his financial records, houses, and even his son's online activity. The actual mayhem, however, could come from within. Boosie's girlfriend reportedly told someone that Boosie hurried back inside that evening, clearly concealing something. He continues to behave uninformed.
We was gambling, you know every party I throw gambling parties and shit. Dude was gambling. They trying to make false reps like the dude beat somebody out some money, but the dude actually lost his money, bro. Ain't nobody really win. You know what I'm saying? Like, dude lost his money, and four dude left. Dude was like, man, I won't make a piece for you. Woo-de-woo. I'm like, nigga, make me a gold piece. You know what I'm saying?
This is all he keeps telling everyone.
His car was outside the arena under where we was. It was on side the parking lot, so he had to walk to his car. And that's where the incident took place, when somebody, tried to get him or whatever. But Vlad, bro, if anybody know me, bro, that ain't my stilo, bro. You know what I'm saying? That ain't how I get down, bro. Like, that ain't how none of my people get down. And that's just the bottom line. That's shit that we wouldn't do. And, we was fucked up about it because obviously they were watching us. Obviously they were waiting for anybody to walk across that parking lot to them cars and get in them cars. So, it could have been one of us.
Because Boosie doesn't roll alone, folks are curious about Bowie Falls and who he's bringing along. His nephew is among the people engaged. There is a cousin involved. His name has now been linked to that of Jay Prince JRB, who is already under fire following Takeoff's killing. All of the threads return to the same table, where they intersect. It gets increasingly messier. The same act, finesse, performed twice. Mob TIs once. Now, the man standing behind him says everything from calling out Jay Prince JRB in interviews to hardly mentioning his name. Clearly, something went wrong. The aftermath first appeared to be tranquil. Simply put, Finesse stopped spending time with Junior. There will be no backstage hangouts or concerts. Then the grumbling started. A woman appears to have served as the catalyst for the entire situation. Finest's baby mommy is not your typical woman. She and her mother are accused of lining him up, phoning the cops, and locking him up again for violating his probation a few months prior. Who intervened to free him? Jay Prince Seoster. Finesse returned to the streets in 2 weeks after a few phone chats behind the scenes. Finesse, however, returned to the same girl without thanking her. The senior had had enough. He mounts. He tweeted this from his chest. I advise my buddy, who truly enjoys his life, to avoid that lady at all costs. I had to intervene to get my friend out of jail, but he refused to cooperate. If you believe that these women have your best interests at heart, approach with caution. At this point, everything becomes really chaotic. There were rumors that Prince JRB had secretly gotten Finest's daughter pregnant. Is it currently verified? No, however, the fact that Finesse has not disproved it and that many people assume it is true reveals everything you need to know. Some enthusiasts noticed the pattern, while others disregarded it as theatrics. The families of Junior and Takeoff disagree. In the background, he and Boosie are at odds. Finesse is getting more famous in the public eye. How many bridges can you burn? Many people inquire, what happened before the entire empire fell? Because it is the truth. If your reputation is based on power struggles, silence, and fear, it only takes one person to turn against you. It simply needs one witness, one companion, and one artist. The question now is whether Boosie will be the first to speak. Will Finesse eventually tell the truth? Will Prince JRB be motivated by 50 Cent's preoccupation with uncovering underworld TIs? No one expected him to break the pact of silence and save himself. In any case, the collapse has begun, and whispers have turned into loud knocks. Behind the scenes, federal agents are investigating Boosie's Georgia home, Baton Rouge mansion, and complete real estate portfolio. Every dollar is tracked. Boosie is now being surveyed and explored. Remember, this is not just about Boosie. This also applies to Prince JRB. The artists are leaving. The labels are being revoked. This is not a rap battle. Reiki energy is defined in this way. And given that Duke's killer may have been caught on camera, it would only take one person to sell it to the federal government or TMZ. If that footage is revealed, the game will be over.